Yesterday, what we have discussed. Okay. Which are the three principles in DPSP? Okay. Which are the articles that is under socialistic principle? Okay. Article 38 says about promote welfare of society. Then only that much. Justice in terms of social, political. Okay. Then let us discuss regarding the Gandhian principle. Okay. Gandhian principles of liberal intellectual principles. These are already discussed. The socialistic principle, that is article 38, 39, 39A and 41, 42, 43, 43A and 47 we have discussed yesterday. Let's study regarding the Gandhian principle. Okay. What are the Gandhian ideologies? Development of the village. Then Gandhiji ಅವರ ತತ್ವಗಳು ಏನೇನಿದ್ವು? Then was it related to the village panchayat or not? His ideology was to develop the villages. ಹಳ್ಳಿ ಬೆಳೆದ್ರೆ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೀತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Okay, at the grassroots level, at the bottom level, the India should be developed. Andre village should be developed. That's why to organization of the village panchayats. In every village there should be panchayats. Then promotion of cottage industry in rural areas by individual or corporation. His main idea was to have the ಏನಿತ್ತು? To promote khadi, the cotton. Howda? That's why cottage industries na ಬೆಳೆಸಬೇಕು. We should promote the cottage industries. Then 43B, that includes promotion of cooperative societies. Sahakari ಸಂಘಗಳು. Okay, there are different types of cooperative societies in India. Okay, and what are these cooperative societies? Providing loans. Yeah, providing the loans in the reasonable interest rate. Okay, and next, promotion of educational and scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other weaker section. See, promotion of education and also uplifting the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other weaker sections. And next, intoxicating drinks and drugs. ಹೆಂಡ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾರಾಯಿ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Next, prohibits cows, milch, draught animals, and to improve their breeds. Prohibiting of or else slaughtering of cows. Slaughtering of cows. Slaughtering of cows, milch, draught animals. See here, ಗೋ ಹತ್ಯೆ ನಿಷೇಧ. ಗೋ ಹತ್ಯೆ ನಿಷೇಧ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಡ್ರಾಟ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್. ರೀಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ಅ ಬರ್ತ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಆತರ ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಡ್ರಾಟ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಆಕಳು, ಹಸುಗಳು, ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಆಕಳು, ಹಸುಗಳು ಅದೇನು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕೊಡೋದು ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ the owner of that animal, the cow, will think that it's a burden for us because ಅದು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ಸೆಲ್ ದ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ದಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ದ ಬ್ರೀಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಆನಿಮಲ್ಸ್. ಜವಾರಿ ತಳಿಗಳನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಮೋಟೋ. To prohibit the slaughter of cows, calves, and other milch or draught cattle. See, if the cows don't give the milk, these people will sell that, and that people will kill the animals, will kill the cow, and they will use the organs. ಹೌದಾ, ಈ ತರ ಅದನ್ನ ಲೆದರ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದೆಮ್ ವಿಲ್ ಈಟ್ ಬೀಫ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಹಿಂದೂ ಕಲ್ಚರ್. Just write down all these. These are very important. Already you know the ideologies of Gandhiji, and that is what they have made these kinds of principles. Finish. Next comes the liberal intellectual principles. Liberal intellectual principles. Okay. Article 44. For all citizens, uniform civil code should be applied. Okay. What is uniform civil code?
All for everyone same rules.
Okay. What kind of same rules and regulations? Have you heard this name Uniform Civil Code? What is that? Ekarupa Nagarika Samhite. Have you heard? What does it mean? ಕೇಳಿದೀವಿ ಬಟ್ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಹೌದಾ see here every citizen of India, okay, except these tribal people, for them the central government want to implement or bring the law regarding uniform civil code. Uniform civil code means a same laws irrespective of religion. Same laws irrespective of religion in marriage, divorce, adoption of children, inheritance of property. In marriage, divorce, adoption of children, inheritance of property. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಲಾಸ್ ತರಬೇಕು. That is what the motto of this uniform civil code. Okay. But the central government, the BJP government, just give me a minute. Yeah, uniform civil code. Okay, uniform civil code. Okay, just check, just glance this story. Okay, central government want to bring this kind of uniform civil code in India, throughout India. But for bringing the uniform civil code throughout India, the states should also agree, state governments, by passing the laws and everything. But one state have adopted uniform civil code. Which is that state? Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand have adopted the Uniform Civil Code recently, since from 2 to 3 years back. Okay, and before that, Goa has also adopted this Uniform Civil Code, but it has some certain restrictions for the other religion people. Okay, certain flexibility was being given. Uniform Civil Code andre we are having different types of laws. If you are Hindu, you will be getting marriage under Hindu Marriage Act of 1954. Okay, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಮ್ಯಾರೇಜ್ ಆಗ್ತೀರಾ. If you belong to the Hindu, if both the couples belong to the Hindu, okay, the rules, the guidelines for the Hindu marriage and also for the divorce, the adoption of children, the inheritance of property, that all comes under Hindu Marriage Act. And for Muslims, it is different. Muslim personal law is there for them. Okay, according to that, there is a different culture, the customs for the marriage, divorce, adoption of children, and also inheritance of property for the Muslim community people. Same for the Christian. Based on their culture, based on their religion, there are a set of laws. Understood? For all these kinds of religions. But Uniform Civil Code means irrespective of religion, except tribal people who are in the forest, for them it is not applicable. For all the urban people, village people, the law will be applicable. That laws will be uniform. It will be same for all the religion. In Hindu marriage, the couples can get married only once, and they can go to the second marriage if they got the divorce, or else if the spouse has been dead. Okay, if she is not alive, if he is not alive. Okay, ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಹಿಂದೂ ಮ್ಯಾರೇಜ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಸತಿ ಮದುವೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡನೇ ಸತಿ ಮದುವೆಗಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಡಿವೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಆರ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಪಾಸ್ is not alive. If the spouse is not alive, then they can get married. ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ. And in Muslim community, it is not like that. Till 4 ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ 4 ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಕೂಡ ಮದ್ವೆ ಆಗ್ಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಕನ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ವೈಫ್ಸ್ಗಳದ್ದು. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ತರ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಡಿವೋರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಟೋಟಲಿ ದ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಹಿಂದೂಸ್, ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮ್ಸ್, ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ರಿಶ್ಚಿಯನ್ಸ್. It is like that. And in Goa, they have brought the Uniform Civil Code, but it is not applicable for all the religion over there. For a marriage in Goa, they should register themselves in a church or else in the certain government departments. Okay. In Hindu marriage, you will not register. Not much of the Hindus will register themselves. Have you seen that? They will not register themselves in this register office. They will just go to the temple or else in mantapas. They will just get married in front of the people. That is what the Hindu culture is. Okay, it is valid. Okay, which are the Hindu marriages that is valid is once if the couples get married in temples, that is valid, or else in mandalas. ಎಲ್ಲರ ಸಮ್ಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಮದುವೆ ಆದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ that is valid, even though if you don't register in a registry office. Understood? And in Muslims ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹುಡುಗ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಯಾದಿ ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಅಲ್ಲಿ they will sign up in their registry book. Okay, the compulsory in that. But in Christian also the same way, they will just get married in a church. Okay. And why this? See, it is also having advantages and disadvantages as well. Okay, what are the advantages? What are the advantages of Uniform Civil Code?
They cannot live in divorce.
Okay. Okay. Okay, it's already been banned.
But also, for example,
Okay.
all religions are secular.
Yeah, all the religions are same. Yeah.
No one is above the
Okay. No one is above the law only in India. Who is supreme in India? Who is supreme in India? Basic question. Who is supreme in India? Which subject you are studying?
Polity.
Innೊಂದು ಹೆಸರು. Which book you are studying? The original book.
Constitution.
Yes, Constitution is supreme in India. Not even a president, not even a Supreme Court. Understood? Nobody is above the law means Constitution. It will protect everybody. Constitution will not support only one religion here. Constitution will protect every religion. That's why we need a constitution. And it is the supreme in India. Not even a president is supreme in India. Understood? President should also act according to the constitution. Supreme Court should also act according to the constitution. Nobody is above the constitution in India except the gods. Understood? It is our beliefs. Okay? In personal life, we'll just believe the gods, but when it comes to the society, we believe the constitution. Understood? Okay? The constitution will protect the religion, customs, tradition, laws, everything. Have you understood this one? Okay. What are the disadvantages now?
Like,
What are the disadvantages?
the educated will also treat the same, but uneducated also treat the same.
See, the disadvantage is that if you bring uniform law, the same law for all the religion, they will not accept the law, because in Muslim the tradition is different, and in Hindus the tradition is different. In Christian, the Buddhist, Jainism, Parsis, in every religion the tradition is different. When the tradition is different in their own respective religion, if you bring the uniform civil code, will they accept it personally? No. Okay. These are like core values: the marriage, divorce, adoption of children. Okay. It's not a peripheral value. It's not a surface values. It can change suddenly within a fraction of days, minutes also. Okay. That's why, especially the Muslim community will not accept the uniform civil code in India in practicality. Okay. And also, when it comes to the Hindus, they might accept this uniform civil code, but the other religions will not accept this uniform civil code. Okay, because their tradition is different, their culture is different. When the tradition culture ತುಂಬಾ ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಾವಿರಾರು ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ, suddenly to follow up the laws regarding marriage, divorce, adoption of children in terms of property, it's too difficult for that community to accept it. Okay. And along with that, for the tribal people in India, okay, who are residing in forest areas, for the tribal communities, their culture, their language is different. They don't even know the constitution book. Majority of them, 99% of the tribal people, they don't even know to study. They don't even have the TV, the newspaper, anything. They don't even have the cell phones. And then how can you teach them all these kinds of laws? Understood? We should protect, the constitution will protect the tribal group, those who are residing in the forest. Understood? But we should not interfere in their customs. We should not interfere in their traditions. It is so difficult for them to adopt the urban culture. Have you seen, there are a lot of movies in Kannada as well regarding these tribal people. ಹೌದಾ? ಅವ್ರದೇ ಆದಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಇರ್ತದೆ, that is the forest. Okay. When the other person interferes, the urban people interferes there, it's so difficult for them to adjust. ಹೌದಾ? Even they might kill the urban people as well. ಹೌದಾ? Because they don't know the language, the culture. the tradition, the customs, the food, whatever they intake, it's totally a different one. And for them, all these laws are not, especially the uniform civil code will not be applicable. Okay. In some of the tribal community, there is a polygamy, bigamy as well. Polygamy means bahupatnitva. Bigamy means dvipatnitva. Understood? ಒಂದು ಹುಡುಗ ಒಂದು ಗಂಡ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನರನ್ನು ಮದ್ವೆ ಆಗ್ಬಹುದು, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪಾಲಿಗ್ಯಾಮಿ. ಬೈ ಏನದು ಬೈಗ್ಯಾಮಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ್ವಿಪತ್ನಿತ್ವ, ಇಬ್ರು ಹೆಂಡತಿನ ಮದ್ವೆ ಆಗ್ಬಹುದು, ಈ ತರ ಇಬ್ರು ಹುಡುಗಿರ್ನ, ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಕೂಡ 3-4 ಗಂಡ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗುವಂತ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟೀಸ್ಗಳು ಇದೆ. ಒಂದೇ ಹೆಣ್ಮಗಳು 3-4 ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗುವಂತ ಈ ತರ ಅವ್ರ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. When their culture is too different, okay, we can't interfere in their matters. That's why uniform civil code will be not applicable. You can just have you seen in a national geography or else in some of the news channels, they will just show you how the tribal people will be living there. Okay. ಈ ತರ ಡೌರಿನೂ ಇದೆ ಅವ್ರ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ, ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಡೌರಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮನಿ. Here, dowry in the sense that giving the cows. ಯಾರು 1,000 ಕೌನ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರೋ ಅವ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಮಗಳನ್ನ ಮದ್ವೆ ಆಗ್ಬಹುದು, ವಧು ದಕ್ಷಿಣೆ ತರ. ಓಕೆ, ಹೊರ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಏನೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1,000 ಒಂದು ಆಕಳನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಹಸುನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮದ್ವೆ ಹಾಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಈ ತರನು ಇದೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್ಸ್ಗಳು. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಡೌರಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ದಿ calves. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ತರ. Lot of tribal people, they are having the different culture. Okay, and we feel like weird. The urban people will feel weird, but the tradition culture is different. We should accept those kind of people also in India. Okay, we should protect them. We should not harm them. Understood? Because ಅವರು 1000 ವರ್ಷ ಹಿಂದೆ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮಿನ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ. Because those people live like an ancient Indian people. Understood? Their thoughts are different. Avaru innu hindgade irtare. Okay, we should not interfere them. Okay, they don't even know the sound pollution. They don't even saw these kinds of house, the computer, laptops, anything. And how can you just implement these kinds of laws for them? Understood? Okay. Constitution will protect every religion. But in order to bring this uniform civil code, the state government should also agree for that. And they should also pass the bills in their own respective state governments. Understood? Avaga adopt ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು. That's why all these DPSP are not forcible in nature. Not justiciable ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. If you want, adopt it. If not, leave it. But fundamental rights are not like that. Fundamental rights should be implemented. These are like, we have given you the foundation, we have given you the principles from Article 36 to 51. Based on the people's needs, you can implement this. ಜನರಿಗೆ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಏನಿದೆನಾ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇಲ್ವಾ ಬಿಟ್ಟಾಕಿ. It is like that. Okay. Next, free and compulsory education to all children. Okay, till the age of 14 years. Have you got that? Article 21A, the same here. Free and compulsory education till the age of 14. Already some fundamental right nalli Article 21 that says 21A that says free and compulsory education for all the children between 6 to 14 age. You know the same. Okay. Next, Article 48. Agriculture and animal husbandry on scientific lines. Agriculture, animal husbandry should be developed in India. We should promote that animal husbandry. We should promote the agriculture in India. But in order to promote this, we need a scientific methods. With the help of scientific methods, we can promote the agriculture. What are the scientific methods? New methods. Missionaries. Using of missionaries, is not a illegal, it is illegal. And also we should use some machineries also, the tractor agirli, irrigation agirli, drip irrigation, hauda, all these we should use, but it should be at the scientific method. Next, environment protection. We should protect the environment, the rivers, the forest, okay, animals, wild animals. Okay. It is the duty of the citizen of India also to protect these. Next, next comes the nationally important monument protection, Article 49. It says that protecting the monuments and artistic and historic interest which are declared to be a national importance. The historical monuments which are already ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಹೆರಿಟೇಜ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್, ಓಕೆ, ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಮಾನ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಲ್ ದಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್. Okay, we should not harm them. We should not go and we should write something else there. The couples will do that. ಹೌದಾ, ಹೋಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋದು, ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಅಮರ ತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಧುರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಬರೆಯೋದು, ಹೌದಾ, ಅವಳು ವೆಡ್ಸ್ ಅವನು ಡ್ಯಾಶ್, ಹೌದಾ, ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೆಯೋದು. They will do that. Okay, it's not been done that. We should protect our monuments. ಹೌದಾ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಗುಟ್ಕಾ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ತುಪ್ಪಕ್ಕಂತ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಉಗಿಯೋದು, ಹೌದಾ, civic sense adu, it should be there. I have seen these kind of people. Okay, even though they are educated, literally they will do these kind of things. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. And there is an archaeological department as well. Every year they will just repair these monuments, and also they will give the security, they will maintain that monuments. But ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋದು, ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋದು ಅಲ್ಲೇ. They will just in the night time they will just do the ಏನದು alcohol consumption and everything, and ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡೋದು. Lot of protection should be given for the monuments because those are historical places. ಹೌದಾ, we should cherish the dynasties by just seeing these monuments. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋದು ಅದನ್ನ, ಹೌದಾ. Next, separation of judiciary from executive. Very important. Just write down this. Very, very important. See, let me tell you the important articles. First is the very important Article 44 here, and also Article 50, Article 51. These are important one. Just mention to those. Finish? What is this? Separation of judiciary from executive?
Separation of implementation of the judiciary. There should be no pressure for the
What is separation of powers between judiciary and executive? See here, before the district collector, the deputy commissioners, so-called the DC, Jiladhikari, they used to have both the powers. One is judiciary and executive. Both powers. Right now we are having judiciary, the separate one, executive is the separate. But long time ago, these DC used to have both the power. One is administrative power, that is executive. One is judiciary power. Okay, ಎರಡು powers ಗಳಿದ್ವು. If there is any minor kinds of crimes in their jurisdiction, they can issue the order under the CRPC. What is the duty of judiciary? There will be judicial magistrate. Magistrate irತಾರೆ. Okay, this judicial magistrate, they are the one who will issue the orders for the crimes. But long time ago, the DC used to handle both the administration work and also the judiciary work. Okay, if there is any crime cases in their own jurisdiction, okay, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, they can issue the orders under the CRPC. And then after that, they have changed that district collector, now the duty of the district collector is to administer only the administration now. Now there is a separate judiciary. That judiciary will handle the civil cases and criminal cases. Understood? Is there any doubt? That's why it is called as separation of judiciary and executive. In before 1973, I think so. Okay, ಈ ತರನೇ ಇತ್ತು. DC used to handle both. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ governance ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ extra ಕೆಲಸ ಇದೊಂದಿತ್ತು. Then they have just separated this one. Understood? Okay, your assignment is Article 50. Just write down that Article 50 assignment. Now, the next one is promotion of international peace and security. What is that? We should promote the international peace and also we should strengthen our security, national security. Along with that, we should maintain the relation with the other foreign nation in a good terms. Understood? Having the good relationship with the neighboring countries, having the good relationship with the developed countries in order to have the peace and also strengthening our national security, that is also comes under DPSP. Okay. See here, let me just explain you. Gandhian principles, it is based on Gandhian ideologies. Okay. Next, let me tell you this liberal intellectual principle. This liberal intellectual principle, these are like liberal laws. Just check here, Uniform Civil Code, a liberal one. Okay. Next, compulsory education, liberal intellectual, related to the animals. Okay. Next, environment ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇದೆ, national monuments. These are liberal one. Okay. And also separation of these one, and also lastly having the international peace. Based on the article explanation only, you can just tell whether it comes under social, Gandhian, or else liberal intellectual. Understood? Either basis ಮೇಲೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು ಇದು ಓಕೆ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಲಿಬರಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲೆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Okay, yesterday we have studied social and also the Gandhian principle, liberal intellectual principle. Understood? Now, why this is not justiciable in nature? Why the DPSP is not justiciable in nature? ನ್ಯಾಯ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದನ್ನ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ there is a reason behind that. Lack of resources is the reason for that. Lack of resources, natural resources or any kind of resources. It might be money also. During 1950s, just go to the 1950s now. The constitutional makers have written that DPSP is non-justiciable. Why? Because during that time, India was not developed. India was not even developing. We just got independence during that time. That's why there was a lack of resources in India. ಎಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ್ಸ್, ಕೊಳ್ಳೆ ಹೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋದಾಗ then what we should do? Resources in the form of rich resources will be in the form of gold, diamond. Understood? Okay. And during that time there was no major industries as well during that time. Then our India was only the agriculture based economy during that time. That's why when there was a lack of resources, so called the budget, that's why they have made that eventually you can make the DPSP these principles to implement when you get the resources. Resource ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೋ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರ್ತದೇನೋ ಹಂಗೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, we can implement these principles. Understood? Okay. For maintaining the historical monuments, do we need money or not? Do we need money for repairing that, for maintenance of that? That is what they have given here. And also here, international peace and security. There also we need a money. The money is required for having the production of national security, recruiting the armed forces, paramilitary forces, purchasing the weapons, vehicles, missiles. Do we need money or not? And for all this, for education purpose, do the government need money or not for giving the education? Just for all this, why they didn't made it compulsory is because of lack of resources. Eventually, when the government gets the budget, let them implement. Is there any doubt in this? No doubts. We have completed this regarding the DPSP. If you have any doubts, do let me know. Okay. Kindly go through these. And also, I have just left this sentence. This DPSP was been adopted from Ireland. DPSP concept was been adopted from the Ireland. Okay, just write down this, some of the basics of this. These are important. Finish? Can I ask the questions? Can I ask the articles? Okay. Okay. Now let us study the fundamental duties. You just put the heading fundamental duties. Okay. Fundamental duties is coming under which article? Fundamental duties that deals with the article called as 51A. That is 51A. DPSP is from article 36 to 51. 36 to 51. But the constitutional bills in original constitution, they didn't add up the fundamental duties because they felt like the Indians don't require any fundamental duties for them. Okay, and ಒಂದು ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಿ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೇಟ್ರಿಯಾಟಿಸಮ್, ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಹೌದಾ? ಅಷ್ಟಿದ್ದಾಗ ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್ಗಳು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ, ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್ಗಳು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ಕಲ್ಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ದಿ ಡಿಡ್ಂಟ್ ಆಡ್ ಅಪ್ ದಿಸ್. But during the national emergency, okay, the third national emergency during Indira Gandhi's government, okay, there was a lot of the internal disturbance was going on. During that time, the Congress government thought that we should add up the fundamental duties for the people. Okay, it is necessary right now during 1975, 1976. Okay, then they have added this fundamental duties in our constitution. 25 ವರ್ಷ ಆಡೇ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ 1947 ಎಲ್ಲರಲ್ಲೂ. ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ಇರೋರ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್ಗಳು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೆನಪಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅದ್ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ thinking of the constitutional makers. Okay, let us see, study one by one. This DPSP, sorry, these fundamental duties have been incorporated in the part 4A of the constitution. Part 4A that was been added. This fundamental duties was been added with the help of part that is 4A, and the article is related, that is 51A. Okay, and through which constitutional amendment act they have added this? 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Okay, and there was a committee for giving the report on fundamental duties. That committee name is Swarna Singh Committee. Understood? Swarna Singh was an MP. Okay, and under his guidance, there was a report have been given for or submitted for the Congress government during that time. Okay, the Swarna Singh Committee have given several fundamental duties. Out of that, 8 fundamental duties was added from the Swarna Singh report. Okay, there was a report, lot of fundamental duties was been given in that. Out of that, 8 fundamental duties have been adopted from that Swarna Singh Committee, and rest 2 of the fundamental duties was been added by the Congress government during that time. Again in 2002, again they have added the 11th fundamental duty, that is Article 21A. The same have been included here as well. Okay, and see here, in 1976, only 10 fundamental duties were introduced. 8 fundamental duties were belongs to the Swarna Singh Committee, and rest 2 from the Congress government, and there were 10 fundamental duties in 1976. And 11th fundamental duty was been added, that is free and compulsory education for the children between 6 to 40 age. That was been added with the help of which Constitutional Amendment Act? 86th Constitutional Amendment Act. The 11th fundamental duty was been added in 2002. Next, the idea of having the fundamental duties. Was inspired from which constitution? That is USSR, Soviet Union. Already we have discussed in the past chapter. Fundamental rights have been adopted from USA, borrowed from USA. This one is borrowed from Soviet Union or USSR. Next, like the DPSP, the duties are also non-justiciable in nature. These are also non-justiciable. These can't be forced on the person to do his duty. Understood? Recently, in every theatre, they have decided that all the citizens of India, they should stand when there is a national anthem that was been running in these theaters. Before the movie starts, ಪ್ರತಿ ಸತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಆಂಥಮ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ನ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು. ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಶುಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಪ್ ದೇರ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಏನಲ್ಲ, ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಶುಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಪ್ ದೇರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಬಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಈಟಿಂಗ್, ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಬೈ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಲ್ಯೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್, ಈ ತರ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್, ದ ಪಿಟಿಷನ್ ವಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಫೈಲ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಅ court, and Supreme Court told that stop playing the national anthem in the theaters. It is not like a respect and ಹೋಗಿ ಥಿಯೇಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಜನರು? Why the people will go for theater? For having entertainment. Then why the respect should be given in the theater? Why the national anthem should be played in the theaters then? Understood? There should be an environment like that. Okay, entertainment is different from playing these kinds of national anthem. That's why ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ they stopped playing the national anthem in the theaters from that time. Okay, it was for only certain months of time, certain days ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇತ್ತದು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರು, ಈ ತರ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ದಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಆಂಥಮ್. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ತರನೂ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. And we can't force for the people. Okay, if the person is, your think that you're respecting for the national anthem by standing, if the other person is sitting and eating, or else if he is sleeping or something, doing something in the theater, you can't force him, you can't beat him to respect the national anthem there. ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೀನು ಈ ತರನೇ ಮಾಡೋ ಅಂತಾರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಯು ಕಾಂಟ್ ಟೆಲ್ ದಟ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ನೇಚರ್. Understood? Okay, but there are certain acts under fundamental duties that are forceful in nature, that should be obeyed. Okay, I will just let you know which are those. Have you understood this one? Just write down in the keywords. Written? Okay, let us study the fundamental duties. First fundamental duty is that, which is that? The first fundamental duty. To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and national anthem. Okay, what we should do? To abide by the Constitution means ಕಾನೂನಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಬದ್ಧರಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಕಾನೂನು ಮೀರಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಓಕೆ, ಕಾನೂನು ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಟು ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ and also national flag, national anthem. You should respect what? National flag, national anthem. And if you disrespect this, there is an act for that. Under that act, you will be punished. Okay, just write down that first one. Under that, I'll just let you know the acts. Okay. Just write down national flag and national anthem. Okay. Just write down below of that national flag and national anthem. Disrespecting of national flag and national anthem. Disrespecting of national flag and national anthem. National flag and national anthem is governed by prevention of insults, prevention of insults, prevention of insults to National Honor Act, to National Honor, National Honor Act. Prevention of insults to National Honor Acts, Act of 1971. 1971. Prevention of insults to National Honor Act 1971.
Fundamental duties of the
See, yes, that is what the answer is. This was been already adopted in 1971 itself. Okay, this is totally different from the fundamental duty. See, in fundamental duty, they have added national flag and national anthem. We should respect the national flag, national anthem. But this was been added during 1971 itself. Why? Because the citizen of India should not disrespect the national flag, national anthem. This is a compulsory law. But fundamental duty can't be compulsorily inculcated or ಹೇರೋದಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಜನರ ಮೇಲೆ. Okay, and that's why what they have done is this act, under it the citizens will get the punishment. ನಾವು ಎರಡು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ಸಿವಿಕ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್, ಮೊರಾಲಿಟಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಜನರಲ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರೆಷರೈಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಗೆ. ನೀವು see, there are a lot of people who will disrespect constitution also in India. Are there people or not? There are people who will condemn Ambedkar also. They are the people who will condemn the Mahatma Gandhi ji, and they will support the Nathuram Godse also. It depends on their perception. Okay, based on that, what does the civic sense tells? What does the responsibility of the people tells? That we should respect the national flag, national anthem. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಪ್ರೆಷರೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಜನರಿಗೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬರ್ನ್ ದ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ದ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಆಂಥಮ್. ಈ ತರ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ದಟ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಇಂಟಿಗ್ರಿಟಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ನೇಷನ್, ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಲಾ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್. ಜನರಿಗೆ ಭಯನೂ ಹುಟ್ಟಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಂಡ್ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಮೋಷನಲ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇರಬೇಕು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್. That emotional connectivity should be there. The patriotism should be there. Patriotism ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರ್ತದೆ? If you respect national flag, if you respect national anthem, if you defend our India, that is what a responsibility, the duty of the people. That is called as patriotism. ಹೌದಾ? ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರೋದು? These are all the basics. ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇರೋದಲ್ಲ, ನೀನ್ ಇದೇ ತರ ನಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಹಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಅದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿನಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಹಾಕಿದೀವಿ, ಅಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಓಕೆ, ಪ್ರಿವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಟು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಆನರ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು disrespect national flag, and also if you disrespect national anthem, the punishment is up to 3 years. Understood? ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ ನ ಬರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ ನ ಹಾಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಓಕೆ, ಇಂಟೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಡಿಸ್ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ಅಂಡ್ ಕಂಡಮಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಆಂಥಮ್, ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಪನಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 3 years. Understood? Okay, we should bring these kinds of laws or not? Okay, just write down that punishment up to 3 years and a fine and or a both.
It's not excessive. They cannot.
See, that is what I'm telling. This will not come under fundamental duties. This act will not come under fundamental duty.
But also, if we put pressure also, they do not also. It's their.
See, what I'm telling is, this is separate concept. The national flag, national anthem. They have just added in a fundamental duty. It comes under both morality, the civic sense, and also this one is compulsory. It's basic, it's compulsory, ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಲೇಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. Okay, that's why they have added here as well. Firstly, they have brought this law, and then they have added here as well. Okay, now if any of the citizen of India disrespect, sumne bidodilla. Under this act, they will get the punishment, either 3-year imprisonment or fine, along with both.
If the person he goes to the court and if we appeals, how can I get this?
No, this is already been adopted in which year? 1971. That's what I'm telling. It is separate idu. Okay. Idrinda idu huttilla. This is separate one. Okay. See, some of them can be adopted by the people. Some of them should be compulsorily adopted. Compulsory adopted ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು acts ಗಳಿದೆ. Acts ನ ಪಾಲಿಸಲೇಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ. Act should be followed by every citizen of India. But these kind of non-justiciable ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, this is added in both. See, patriotism, that is what I am telling. Fundamental duty ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? What is according to you?
My duty to do responsibility.
What are the responsibility?
To respect the national.
To respect nationality, national India. How you will respect the India? By celebrating the national festival?
But also the environment protection.
Yeah, that is all that is included here in this. Environment protection, defending our country in war. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ನಾವು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ನಾವು ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ನಾವು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗೋದಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದ ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ ನ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಅಂತಮ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ಪೇಟ್ರಿಯೋಟಿಸಮ್ ಶೋಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಗೆ ಗಾರ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಶೋಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ patriotic in nature. That's why they have added here as well. Okay, even though these are not justiciable, but under this act they will get the punishment. Understood? Because these laws have been added previously only, not in 1976. It has been already adopted in 1971. It's in post. Next comes the to cherish and follow the noble ideals that inspired the national struggle for freedom. ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಗಲ್ಗೆ ಹುತಾತ್ಮರಾದವರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಚೆರಿಶ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಚೆರಿಶ್ ದ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಫೈಟರ್ಸ್. ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಂಡೆಮ್ ದೆಮ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್. They will condemn the national freedom fighter as well in their perception. He is wrong. He has done wrong. But in some of the other person's perception, he might be right. Understood? Next, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of nation. Sovereignty means we are independent nation. Unity and integrity should be there. Next, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. If there is any war between India and Pakistan, even the civilians, nagarikaru kuda should be ready for helping in the war. Understood? Allenadru ಸೈನಿಕರ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ we should be ready. Understood? That is what it's a fundamental duty. Next, to promote harmony, the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India. We should maintain that brotherhood. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮನ ತರ, irrespective of religion. Okay. Next, transcending religious, linguistic, regional and sectional diversities. We are having a lot of languages. Okay. Even though language, religion, region ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, based on that we should not discriminate ourselves. ನಮ್ಮ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಏನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, we are like a brothers. ನಮ್ಮ ರಿಲಿಜಿಯನ್ ಏನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, ಹಿಂದೂನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, we are like a brothers. And ನಮ್ಮ ರೀಜನ್ ಏನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, we are south, north, northeast, east, west, it doesn't matter. We are one. We are Indians. Understood? And also they have given, just check here, what they have given. To renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of woman. We should respect the woman. And also ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಮಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಭಂಗ ಆಗುವಂತ ಏನೇ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್ ಗಳಿದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸತಿ ಪ್ರಥಾ, ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ನೋ ದಟ್ ಸತಿ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್? ಓಕೆ, ಈ ತರ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಡಿಗ್ನಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ವುಮನ್ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ತರ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇವದಾಸಿ ಪದ್ಧತಿ, yesterday I have told you. Okay, that all should not be there. We should respect the dignity of woman. To renounce practices derogatory ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ, ಡಿಗ್ನಿಟಿ ಅವ್ರ ಡಿಗ್ನಿಟಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಧಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಧಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್, ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. To value and preserve the rich heritage of country's composite culture. India is rich in culture. We know that. ಅದನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? We should preserve that culture in India. That's why India is called as unity in diversity. Diversity means different culture, different language, different people, different religion. Okay, but we are one together. We are unity. That's what we should maintain that. Next comes the protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, rivers, wildlife, compassion for living creature. We have already studied in liberal intellectual principle in DPSP, the same one. They have added here as well. ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. We should preserve all this. Wild animals ಸಾಯಿಸೋದಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ನೇಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ಲಾಕೆಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಡರ್ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ 1972 ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. We should not hunt the wildlife. Okay, we should preserve them. Forest also, lakes, everything. Okay, next, to develop scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. What is meant by to develop a scientific temper? We should inculcate, we should adopt only the scientific methods. ಈ ಒಂದು ಮೂಢ ನಂಬಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಮೂಢ ನಂಬಿಕೆಗಳು, ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಸೀನ್? ಇನ್ನು ಮೂಢ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಧಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಏನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು? ಬಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಮೂಢನಂಬಿಕೆ ಅದು. ಮೂಢನಂಬಿಕೆ ಹೌದಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಈ ತರ ಆ ಮೂಢನಂಬಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್. ಏನ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೋ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿಲೀವ್. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ಚಿಕ್ಕವರಿದ್ದಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಜನರು. They used to come for the house in every village. They used to ask whether you are having, whether can you see the eyesight or not properly, are you having the eyesight or not ಅಂತ ಕೇಳೋರು, ಕಣ್ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. And they used to come, they used to tell us, ನಾವು ಕಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಹರಳನ್ನ ತೆಗಿತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಕಲ್ಲನ್ನ ತೆಗಿತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋರು. Okay, they used to just do the massaging. Okay, and they used to show us the sand. Okay, and the small stones also. And I got to know that's a wrong idea, whatever they are doing, because these people will be putting the sand in their saris, and they are just taking that, they are just holding here, and they are just doing the massages, and they are showing, okay, see how you have got this much of sand and everything. They used to charge for that money, in terms of money. Okay, ee taranu ida. Okay, they see those are not a scientific method. Even when small dust hodrunu kuda your eyes will start to irritate and it will do the watering. When it starts to watering, it will come out. Okay, and we should consult a doctor during that time. Okay, ಇವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗೋದಲ್ಲ, ಮಸಾಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Okay, see all that myth. ಈ ತರನು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಜನರು, and especially ಆ ನಿಧಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು. Okay, that's a unscientific method. to safeguard public property and to absorb violence. What is this? We should safeguard what? Public property. We should not damage the public properties, especially the bus during the strike. Nowadays, they are not doing much damage, but in 2010, before that, ತುಂಬಾ ಬಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾಶ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋರು, ಬೆಂಕಿ ಹಾಕೋರು, ಟೈರ್ನ ಇದನ್ ಮಾಡೋರು, ಹೊಡೆಯೋರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಶಾಪ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಸೋರು ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್. It was too harsh. But since from 10 years, now it's like not much of strike will be implemented. Okay. ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗ. ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ, ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಚಿಕ್ಕವರಿದ್ದಾಗ there was lot of damages used to happen. They used to come like in a rally and they used to bring us sticks. They used to warn for the shop owners that you should close the door. Okay. ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋರು ಅದೊಂದು ಕಾಲ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಡ್ರಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೇಂಜ್. Not much Gundaism in Karnataka. Okay. Top 2 or top 1 illide Karnataka police administration. Best ide when you compare to the northern police. Okay. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ Gundaism, everything. ಅಲ್ಲಿ control ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕಷ್ಟ. But in southern it's not like that. Okay. Especially Karnataka is the best. And it is also safe when you compare to the other states. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises higher levels of endeavor and achievement. What we should do? We should strive towards the excellence. ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ, ದ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಎಕ್ಸಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ದೇಶ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. We should achieve something. If we achieve something, our India will get the pride. It will get recognized in the world. Understood? Okay. That's what they'll tell there. We should do the achievement. We should just go towards the excellence. Then obviously our India also will get the pride. ಒಲಿಂಪಿಕ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮೆಡಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಗೆಲ್ತೀವೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೈಡ್. ಆ ತರ not only in that sports, in every sector we should achieve something. Next, to provide opportunities for education for all children and board between the age of 6 to 14 years. As I told you, this is the last one. They have added this 11th fundamental right. They have added in 2002 with the help of 86th Constitutional Amendment Act. Understood? These are the fundamental duties. Is there any doubt in this? Okay. Now you got to know which are the fundamental duties. Okay. Just take a break. If you want to write, you can write down and take the break of 15 minutes. Okay. 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 As I was discussing fundamental duties, there are 11 fundamental duties. The Swan Singh Committee, how many of the fundamental rights have been adopted from the Swan Singh Committee? 8 fundamental duties was been adopted from the Swan Singh Committee. And there are 3 fundamental duties that was not been added. Okay, 3 of them were rejected. Okay, let me tell which are those. This was one of the previous year questions. Okay, just give me a minute. Which are those 3? Do you know which are those 3 duties that the Swan Singh Committee's report have been rejected from the Congress government? Already we have seen all these fundamental duties. Okay. The rejected one is that the first one, just write down the first one. First one is that, okay, the first one, ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವಾ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ See, the Swan Singh Committee's report told that Parliament is having the power and it should punish and it should give the penalty. It should levy the penalty also for the citizen of India who are just violating the fundamental duties. All these fundamental duties, whatever we have studied, if that is not being followed up by the citizen of India, then who can give the punishment? Parliament. Okay, Parliament can make the laws regarding the fundamental duties. Okay, that's what they have been given in that report. But the Congress government during that time, they rejected adding this Parliament should not make it compulsory to follow these fundamental duties in India. Understood? What was the Swan Singh Committee said? It said that Parliament is having the power to mandate these fundamental duties and also it should punish the violators of these fundamental duties. That was one of the point that was been added in the Swan Singh Committee's report. But Indian National Congress didn't agree for that. Okay. The next one is paying of tax. Paying tax in India should be a fundamental duty. That was been added by the Swan Singh Committee's report. But Indian National Congress didn't agree for that. There is separate laws for paying the taxes in India. Okay. There is an income tax department. It is mandatory under that act to compulsory to pay the taxes in India. But it is not the fundamental duty to make the people to understand to pay them the taxes. Understood? Okay. That is also the second one that has been given. Okay. The third one is that no law imposing such penalty or punishing shall be asked in any question of court. Who will give the punishment? Parliament According to the act, Parliament is having the right to give the punishment. But none of the Supreme Court, not even a High Court, can question that for the Parliament. That was the third point. Okay, these 3 points have been rejected for adding in the fundamental duties. The first one is Parliament is having the right to create the laws regarding the fundamental duties, and it can impose the penalty, and also it can punish the violators. That was been added. The second one was paying the tax, and also the third one is none of the courts can question regarding the fundamental duties. That was been added. By this, we have completed the fundamental duties chapter. Okay. The next chapter, very important, that is basic structure of the Constitution. Basic structure of the Constitution. Let us study the basic structure of Constitution. Basic structure of the Constitution. Here, you will be studying the different cases. Okay, 5 to 6 cases are so important. One is Shankari Prasad case, next Golaknath case, then the Keshwananda Bharati case, Vaman case, and also along with that, you will be studying the Minerva Mills case. Okay, these are the important ones. We need only what is the judgment given by the Supreme Court. Okay, just put the heading basic structure of Constitution. Okay, the first case. Let us study the first case. When the Constitution came into the force? 26th January 1950. Constitution came into the force, or commencement of the Constitution was been done on 26th January 1950. Okay. When the Constitution came into the force, in the next year itself, there was been amendment. Amendment means change in the Constitution, either adding something in the Constitution, deleting in that Constitution, or making the changes in the Constitution. Tiddupadi. Okay. And the first amendment was been happened in which year? Yes, 1951. The first constitutional amendment took place in 1951. Okay. And here there was a case that was, the petition was been filed by the Shankari Prasad. Okay. Shankari Prasad. Shankari Prasad versus Union of India. During that time only the right to property, the subject called right to property, was been a problem during that time. Okay. And right to property during that time was fundamental right. Whatever you are having the private property, you are having a right on that. Government can't acquire that. That was your right. That was being had. And during that time, there was a judgment given in the Shankari Prasad. See, we don't want all this history of that cases. It's too difficult to make you to understand. There was issue regarding the right to property in that. Okay, the lot of properties was been acquired by the government of India during that time. Okay, when you are having the private property, will you give for anybody? Will you give for the government in the free of cost? No. During that time, the government wanted a property in order to develop the nation. In terms of giving them the education, health facilities. In order to give the education, we needed schools, government colleges. In order to build that, government needs a land. But nobody is paying, but nobody is giving the lands. During that time, Jawaharlal Nehru was the prime minister, and during his era, he told that we need a land for development of India. But none of them are giving the land for us. None of the citizens are giving the land for us for developing the nation. That's why we'll change the laws that we can acquire the private property of people also for public use. But we'll give them the fair compensation. Okay. And in this case, the Supreme Court has given the judgment that the parliament can amend the constitution. Who is having the right to amend the constitution? Only the parliament. Okay. A constitution book na ತಿದ್ದುಪಡಿ ಮಾಡೋದು, changes ಮಾಡೋದು, ಯಾರ ಕೆಲಸ? It is only the parliament. Parliament can change, not even a Supreme Court. Supreme Court can give what? Judicial review, whether the law is right or null or void. Okay, it is wrong. That kind of judicial review can be given by only the judiciary, but it can't create the laws in India. Laws will be created by the parliamentarians or the legislatures. Parliament can amend the constitution, and also it can amend what? It can amend even the fundamental rights of the people. There is a chapter called as fundamental rights. Okay, and we can amend the fundamental rights. That's what the parliament is having that much of power. Before creation of parliament, what we had? Before the creation of parliament, what we had? Constituent assembly. The old name of parliament was Constituent Assembly. Constitutional makers framed the constitution in Constituent Assembly. They are the lawmakers. The Supreme Court was not there. Even the Supreme Court was there, but they don't have a rights to create the laws for that. Okay, that's why only the parliamentarians, the parliament is having the right to amend the constitution, to add the laws in the constitution, to make the changes in the constitution, along with the fundamental rights. Understood? With the help of which article? With the help of 368. Article 368 that tells you can change the constitution. You can amend the constitution. There are articles, 395 articles are there in the original constitution. In that, specifically, article 368 tells that we can change that constitution book. We can amend the constitution book with the help of article 368. Understood? Okay. What does the Supreme Court have given the judgment? What it said? Parliament can amend the constitution, and also it can amend even the fundamental rights. Why it has specifically have mentioned the fundamental right is because right to property. Constitutional makers have added right to property in the fundamental rights. Whatever the private people are having their private properties, that can be a fundamental right that was been added by the constitutional makers. But this right to property, when it is included in the fundamental right, Even it can be amended, it can be made changes. Understood? This one can be make changes. That's what the judgment have been given. Again, this judgment was been overruled in different case, the second case. First write down this judgment. Then we'll go for the second judgment. Second case, that is Golaknath case. Golaknath versus State of Punjab. Golaknath versus State of Punjab. 1967. First write down this. Okay, let's go for the second case, that is Golaknath versus the State of Punjab. 1967. Okay. In this Golaknath case, okay, the Supreme Court again it overruled this judgment. Ulta aitu. ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the parliament is not having the right to amend the constitution. ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ಹೇಳಿತ್ತು? Parliament is having the right to amend the constitution. But in that case, parliament is not having the right to amend the fundamental rights. It can't take away the fundamental rights. It can't take away the laws. What happened was, there was an article, there was the 17th Constitutional Amendment Act. There was a 17th Constitutional Amendment Act. Which is the 17th Constitutional Amendment Act? Just check. Check in a Google. 17th Constitutional Amendment Act. What it is related to. And also and also 24th Constitutional Amendment Act. We need all these. Just check the 17th Constitutional Amendment Act and also Just check here. Golaknath was very rich person. He was landlord, not a farmer. He was a landlord. Thousands of acres of land was there in the Punjab. Okay, but Punjab government started to acquire the surplus land. ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗೆ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆ. ಒಂದೇ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗೆ ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಎಕರೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ವಿಲ್ ದೇ ಪ್ಲೋ ದಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್? Will they plow that land? No, they will not plow. That's why the state governments started to do the land reforms in their own respective state. They started to acquire the zamindars land. Zamindars used to have thousands of acres of land during that time, but they made a limit for that. Okay, the limit was 54 acres of land, 100 acres of land. Okay, all the surplus will be seized by the or else took away by the governments of the states. He challenged in Supreme Court again. He challenged in Supreme Court that my property is my fundamental right. How can this state governments or the parliament can take my own property? That was the question. Here also the same way. There also the same. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಓದ್ತೀರಾ ನೋಡಿ, ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ. 3 to 4 cases are related to the right to property. These are very rich people. ಶಂಕರ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, ಗೋಲಕ್ನಾಥ್, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇಶವಾನಂದ ಭಾರತಿ ಕೇಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಗೋಲಕ್ನಾಥ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ there were 11 judges in that. Okay, 11 judges ನಲ್ಲಿ the voting was in the form of 6:5 ratio. The votings will be there for that cases, for the judgments. Okay, and in that it was just 6:5. ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು vote ಇಂದ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the judgment have been came. ಏನ್ ಬಂತು judgment ಅಂದ್ರೆ the parliament cannot amend the constitution ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ದು. Cannot amend the constitution and also cannot amend the fundamental rights. Just concentrate. Let me dictate you afterwards. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತು ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್? Parliament cannot amend the constitution and also it cannot amend the what? Fundamental rights. But what does this Article 13 tells about? Harsha. Article 13, definition of law. The definition of law says that what is meant by law? Law is having 3 types in that. One is permanent law, one is temporary law, the other one are orders, notification, bylaws, that all. Okay, the ordinary laws, the constitutional laws can be created by the parliamentarians, by the parliament. But in the name of law, you can't make any kind of unconstitutional laws. Understood? In the definition of law, don't create wrongful laws that is not supporting the people. Parliament is having the limit to create the laws in India. It should not violate the constitution. Understood? ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಇದೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಪವರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ, ಬಟ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ is not having the broader powers for creating the laws. It is having limitations. ಲಾನ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೇಕಾದ ಲಾನ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ. There is a certain limitations for the parliamentarians. ಹೌದಾ? Protection of life is Article 21. Protection to right to kill ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ. Understood? See, these kind of laws should not be harming the people of India. That's why there is a limitations for creating the laws. ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೇಕಾದ laws ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ. ಹೌದಾ? And here in Shankari Prasad case, they told that Parliament cannot amend the constitution and it cannot amend the fundamental rights. And it cannot violate the Article 13 as well. law should be constitutional. It should be bounded by the constitution. It should not be unconstitutional. Understood? That's what the judgment was being given. ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ದುರ್ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. You should not misuse while creating the laws. You can amend the constitution with the help of Article 368. But whatever the laws the parliamentarians create, it should be bounded within the constitution. Understood? Okay. Why it has been overruled? That case? Overrule ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತು? ಶಂಕರಿ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿತ್ತು? Can amend the constitution ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿತ್ತು. But now it has been overruled in this case. Case judgment ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಆಯ್ತು. It has been overruled in this Golaknath case. Understood? Is there any doubt? No doubts. And write down this judgment of that.
What is the reason to do that?
Yeah, that's why I told you to go through this. What does this say? 17th Constitutional Amendment Act. What does this say?
Land reform and acquisition of land.
Yeah.
Provides for
17th Constitutional Amendment. See here. In Shankari Prasad case, okay, as I told you, the first amendment regarding the land reforms. Once there was constitution came into the force, the government wanted a land for development purpose, and it started to have its own land reforms in every states. In every state governments, it told that have the ceilings of that. We can acquire the private properties of the individuals. But this Article 17, there they have added the extra articles like Article 31A, 31B and also 9th schedule. Okay, 9th schedule was been added in 1951. What does that 9th schedule says is that whatever, see in that 9th schedule, okay, in that 9th schedule, whatever the laws you add up in this 9th schedule cannot be questioned in any court of law. There are 12 schedules in that, okay, and in original constitution there were 8 schedules. 9th schedule was been amended and added in which year? 1951. That was the first Constitutional Amendment Act. First time constitution was been changed in the previous itself, sorry, in the next year itself, that is 1951. Okay, and this 1951 Constitutional Amendment Act, the first Constitutional Amendment Act, have added the 9th schedule. That 9th schedule says that whatever the parliamentarians add the laws in the 9th schedule, that cannot be questioned in any courts. Supreme Court can't even give the judicial review for that. It was like a protection for the parliamentarians. Okay. You can't interfere. The Supreme Court, you can't even interfere. But what does this Article 13 says? Article 13 says that Supreme Court can give the judicial review for whatever the laws created by the parliamentarians. Article 13 ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ? ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ? It tells the definition of law. That laws can be created by whom? Parliamentarians. But when the laws are right, that is constitutionally bounded, it can be implemented. If it is violating, then it is declared as null or void. It will be cancelled by giving the judicial review by the Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court is having the right to give the judicial review under Article 13, but the Parliament is telling that in 9th schedule, whatever the laws that has been added, Supreme Court can't interfere in these matters. Understood? That is what the first Constitutional Amendment Act was. Understood? ಒಂದು ಬಕೆಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಆ ನೀರು ನಿಮಗಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. It belongs to you only. The same way, whatever they have added the laws in this 9th schedule, that cannot be questioned in any court of law. They can't even give the Supreme Court can't even give the judicial review for that. But Article 13 in ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ, it is contradictory in nature or not? Here, Article 13 says that for every laws, judicial review can be given. ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. Who will give the judicial review? Supreme Court. The judiciary will give. But these parliamentarians are restricting whom? Again, the judiciary, the Supreme Court here. That's why it is violating the Article 13 here. Is it violating this Article 13 or not? This 9th schedule, First Amendment. That's why they have declared it as null or void. ನೀವೇನ ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಲ್ಲ, ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ, ಸಿ ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಕೌಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡೋರು ಒಬ್ರಿಗೊಬ್ರು, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಇಂದಿರಾ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇಂದಿರಾ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ವಿದಿನ್ ಫ್ಯೂ ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾವ ತರ ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕೊಡೋರು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಅಮೆಂಡ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಇವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಒಂದು ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್, 9th ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡೋದಂತೆ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದಂತೆ, ಇವ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯಲ್ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಕೊಡಬಾರ್ದಂತೆ. ಸಿ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟೇರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್. ಬಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಮೇಕರ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಮುಂಚೆನೆ, ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಫೋರ್ಸ್, constitutional makers added this one: Supreme Court can give the judicial review for any laws created by the parliamentarians. But ಇದನ್ನ violate ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು First Constitutional Amendment Act. Understood? Okay. Have you understood this Shankari Prasad case? Sorry, Golaknath case? Okay, only you should know the judgments, not much. Just write down there itself. 11 judges bench, 6:5 ratio of voting. 11 judges bench, 6:5 ratio of voting. Next one. Keshwananda Bharti versus State of Kerala. Just write down. Keshwananda Bharti versus State of Kerala. The third case. Write down that. Keshwananda Bharti was a Swamiji, Matadisha. They had a Mata in Kerala. And in the name of Mata, it had thousands of acres of land. Okay. But there was a Kerala land reforms took place. Kerala government brought a new land reforms and it started to acquire the lands, the surplus lands. 500 to thousands of acres of land have been captured and acquired from the Keshwananda Bharti's Mata. He went for the Supreme Court. And he also told that right to property is a fundamental right. When was right to property was been deleted? 1978. From 1950 to till 1978, right to property was a fundamental rights. After 1978, it became a legal right. Now it is not a fundamental right now. It is a legal right or constitutional right. But from till this much of 28 years, it was a fundamental right. Once the Kerala government started to acquire the lands of the people, okay, he also went same like a Shankari Prasad and also Golaknath for the Supreme Court. Here, the Supreme Court, same case, matte right to property case idu. Shankari Prasad related to right to property case, Golaknath right to property, Urdu right to property case. Ivag nodi, the Supreme Court judges were 13 in number. When there is the same case, the petition have been filing in the Supreme Court, the judges bench will increase. Golaknath case estidru judges 11. Here 13. All the judges will be in odd numbers only, not in even. That's the common sense. Why so? Voting equal aitandre matte adu enaagtade inna voting agtade. That's why it will be even numbers. 11 idru, it should be again 13 now. Okay, if there is the same case, the petition is happening, judges bench should be increased from one judgment to another judgment. 11 iddu 9 madakagala. 11 iddu, it should be increased because it's having the same case, repeating the same case every time. That's why 13 judges bench. In that, the judgment was in the ratio of 7:6. Ali 6:5, ili 7:6. See, tumba bari onde vote inda. Okay, and let us see the judgment. What does the judgment said? Judgment day to Supreme Court. It said that Parliament can amend the Constitution. Even it can amend the fundamental rights, but it should not violate the basic structure. This basic structure concept was been added in the Keshwananda Bharti case. That's why this case is so important in the Constitution. First case nimage nenapagade Keshwananda Bharti case. It's like a revolution. It has given the powers again for the Parliament. What does in Golaknath case has happened?
It cannot amend.
Parliament cannot amend the Constitution. Parliament can't abridge or take away the fundamental rights. But here again it overruled the judgment. Now it said that Parliament can amend the Constitution. Parliament can amend the Constitution and also amend the fundamental rights, but it should not violate what? It should not violate the basic structure of the constitution. Very important. Understood what it said? It has again given the powers back for the parliament now. It can amend the constitution, it can amend the fundamental rights, but it should not violate what? Basic structure. Now, the Supreme Court judges already declared that basic structure concept. Then what is the basic structure now? Then they started to add the wordings in the basic structure. The basic structure means a sovereignty of the nation, secularism, free and fair elections, rule of law, these kind, independent, democracy, republic, all these wordings have been started to add in the further cases. Understood? Basic structure ಅಂತ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಏನದು ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. That's why it started to give the explanations. Basic structure means foundation of constitution. It should not be violated. There are certain words that are foundation for the constitution. Understood? Okay. This basic structure concept was been added in which case? Keshwananda Bharati case. Okay. After that case, right to property was been deleted in 1978. After this case only. Okay. And the judgment came on April 24th. The landmark judgment was being given on April 24th, 1973. That date is so important. Okay. Adna barkoli first. Now you can write down this one.
Basic structures was added by the Parliament.
Supreme Court only. They added that. The Supreme Court instructed the Parliament that don't violate the basic structure of constitution. There are certain wordings for that. The same way how the buildings will be stood based on foundation, the same way constitution is there, that the constitution is stood on certain wordings. That wordings should not be changed. Okay.
That words are given to the Supreme Court.
Yes, that words are eventually given by the Supreme Court only. Supreme Court heng kortu andre based on the constitution, whatever the words they have mentioned by the constitutional makers. Constitutional makers have written all the laws, all the articles. It has specified all the wordings there. The Supreme Court told that, okay, don't violate these words. Already constitutional makers have added that. Don't violate that words. Understood? Okay. Now, let's come to the Indira Gandhi's case. Okay. There was a Lok Sabha election in 1972 and Indira Gandhi ji versus Raj Narayan. Okay. Indira Gandhi ji and also Raj Narayan were contesting in Raebareli place. Okay, there is a place called Raebareli. It's a constituency. They both are contrasting each other. But Indira Gandhi ji won that election as a MP. Raj Narayan went to the Allahabad court. Okay, court of Allahabad. He just put the case against her that she has won the elections with the help of malpractice. The malpractice here means violating the code of conduct. Okay, code of conduct. For elections, there is a specific rules to conduct the elections. Violating the code of conduct here, the malpractice was in the terms of just utilizing these government officials for campaigning. Understand? All the government employees will be, she is using for the campaigning purpose. It should not be done because government employees should not belongs to either of the party in India. Okay, they should be independent. And once along with the proof, he has submitted that. And also the bribe and also government vehicles should not be used while campaigning. There are rules and regulations for that. Okay, with the help of documents, with the help of proof, he has just submitted for the Allahabad High Court. Allahabad High Court cancelled her election. Okay, and then she went for the Supreme Court as well. And during that time, she declared national emergency. Okay, there was lot of communal violence was been taking place in after that election. ತುಂಬಾ ಕೋಮುಗಲಭೆಗಳು, ತುಂಬಾ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್, ತುಂಬಾ ಜನರ ಸಾಯಿಸೋದು because of internal disturbance, because lot of people were the followers of the Indira Gandhi ji. Lot of the people were also opposing her. ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೊಡೆದಾಡೋದು, ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬೆನ್ಸ್, ತುಂಬಾ ಜನರು ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಮ್ಯುನಲ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ದೆನ್ ಶಿ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ಡ್, ಶಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, president promulgated national emergency. In order to declare national emergency, PM will be not having any right. PM has pressurized the president to declare the national emergency. But the president should seek the recommendations of the prime minister as well as cabinet minister. But that was not been done during that time. The sole pressure of the Indira Gandhi ji led to the national emergency. Ministers ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, cabinet ministers, ಅವ್ರದ್ದೇನು recommendations ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನು decision ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ. Only Indira Gandhi ji told that ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಅಲಹಾಬಾದ್ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಜಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿರ್ತು, cancelling of that election result. And suddenly it led to the internal disturbance. And when there is a national emergency, the government can continue itself. Okay. And during that time, there was a laws created during that time was yavudu constitutional amendment. Okay. In 1973. Okay. 39th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1975. Okay. This 39th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1935, it was in Parliament. They told that the elections of the PM, election of the Lok Sabha Speaker cannot be questioned by any court of law. Which are the elections? Election of PM, election of Speaker. Question ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಜುಡಿಷಿಯರಿ ದವರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಆ ತರ 39th Constitutional Amendment Act ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದ್ರು. See how it was. Okay. Allahabad High Court, what it declared? It was given a judgment based on election results. But she is telling that in the parliament, they have brought one new law. That new law was no judicial intervention in which one? Election of PM and also Speaker. But Supreme Court has given the judgment that Article 13 says I am having the right for judicial review. In ಏನೇ ಮಾಡು, ನಾನು ಜುಡಿಷಿಯಲ್ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಇದೆ, ನಾನು ಕೊಡೋಣ. her government used to add the laws every time in the ninth schedule. That ninth schedule is like a protection. All the laws that is added in the ninth schedule cannot be questioned in any court of law. ತುಂಬಾ ಟಕ್ ತೋರ್ಕೊಡೋರು ಒಬ್ರಿಗೊಬ್ರು ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ರದ್ದು ಮಾಡೋದು, ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ನಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಅಂತ ವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಇವರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಹ್ಯೂಜ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ between both these kinds of pillars of democracy. Okay. And then judicial review, then the judgment, Supreme Court said that I am having the judicial review. It's my responsibility, it's my duty to do that. And whatever 39th Constitutional Amendment Act they have brought, that was been declared null and void. Okay. What are the reforms done by the Indira Gandhi ji? We can't condemn the Indira Gandhi ji only for the national emergency here. She has brought revolution. She is a revolutionary woman also, because she has nationalized 14 banks during that time, and also 6 banks. Okay. And also she has brought certain schemes for employment opportunity. Garibi Hatao, and also she has brought certain land reforms that it was help for the farmers as well. The ceiling limit of land was only 54 acres per family. Uluvavane bhumiya odeya. Farmers are the land owners. Okay, tillers are the land owners. Okay, that concept was been brought during that time. There was a tenancy concept that all have been brought during her era. Okay. Have you understood this one? Keshwananda Bharti case. Okay. The next case is Minerva Mills case. Minerva Mills case 1980. The fourth one. Minerva Mills case 1980. Minerva Mills case 1980. In Minerva Mills case, Supreme Court has given the judgment that Parliament is not having the broader power to create the laws. Okay, it can't misuse its power. Okay, why it has said is that, as you can see the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act, it was violating judicial review. Okay, Parliament can create the laws. Parliament can create the laws, but it should not violate the Constitution. It should not infringe the rights of the judiciary as well. What is the duty of judiciary? What is the duty of judiciary? To give the judicial review for every laws that is created by the Parliament. Law ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. ಆ ಲಾ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದನ್ನ ತಪ್ಪಿದನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯರಿ, ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್. Understood? Okay. If the law is constitutional, it can be implemented further. If the law is unconstitutional, it will be declared null or void. Rad ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋದು. That law cannot be implemented. See, the same. ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ already how the laws will be created? Passing in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and they will send it for home. President will give the assent for that. It will become an act. Law is called as act only. Okay. This act should not be unconstitutional, even though these will pass that act. That bill will be passed. Understood? See, that is what. President is a nominal head here. Understood? It is not a real power. Real power is vested in the hands of PM. President is just a nominal head. Council of Ministers, Prime Minister ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೋ ಇವ್ರು ಅದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. But she is having the veto power, everything. That is different. Draupadi Murmu is having the other powers as well. But every time she can't oppose the ruling party. Understood? That's why what happens is Indira Gandhi ji was so strong lady that it should be used to pass in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and also her Council of Ministers, and she used to pressurize the president also to give an assent. Understood? Okay, the reality was different. Okay, then the judiciary used to give the judiciary due. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಂಬ್ತೀರಾ? How will you trust them that they will create the laws that are constitutionally bounded? Understood? That's why they used to give the judicial review for that. And there itself, it will not come into the force itself. It will not come into the force. See, the law is created in a parliament. Okay? And if any of the person think like me, okay, if I put the petition against one specific law, judgment will be given for that. If the law is constitutionally bounded, it is just as usual, it is passed, it will be in force itself. Okay? But if it is declared null or void, at that moment only, from that moment, it will be stopped from forcing for the people. It will not be implemented. Understood? Okay. And in Minerva Mills case, it tells that the Supreme Court tells that Parliament is having only the limited power to create the laws. It is not having the broader power to create the laws. Understood? Okay, it is having only the limited powers to create the laws. Laws ಮಾಡೋದು ನಿನ್ನ ಕೆಲಸ, ಬಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ laws ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡು, ಫ್ರೇಮ್ ಮಾಡು. Frame the laws, but it should not violate the constitution. That is what the Minerva Mills case is about. Understood? Because what these parliamentarians used to do, used to add up all the laws in the 9th schedule. Court interfere ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋರು? Laws will be added in the 9th schedule. No judicial review ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋರು. That's why Supreme Court said, you are just having a limited power. You are not supreme than the Constitution. You are not supreme than the Constitution. We are just a pillars of the democracy. Legislature, executive, judiciary, we are all the pillars of democracy. We should protect the Constitution. You are not above the law. You are the creator of law. But you are having the limited powers. Understood? Okay. Most of the people will just tell that we should also have the laws like Dubai. ಹೌದಾ, ಅಲ್ಲೇನಾದ್ರು ಇದನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಹಂಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. People will tell publicly like that. But that laws, that kind of rigid laws, okay, heinous kinds of punishment will not be given according to the Constitution. Because based on a judgment, the punishment will be given. Okay. In gang rape cases, see, people will just get emotional, they will get triggered only in heinous crimes. Rape agirli, gang rape agirli, murder agirli. Howda? And there is certain laws, there is certain restriction also to create these kind of heinous crimes, whatever the laws is there. Okay, it's difficult for creating the heinous punishment in India. Heinous punishment in India is the death sentence, the capital punishment. Okay. And in rare cases, the Supreme Court will give the judgment regarding the death punishment. Only in gang rape, heinous case, and rarest of the rare case. Okay. When I am defending myself, if I kill any person, okay, if I kill a person, okay, I will not get a death sentence. I will just get a life imprisonment up to 14 years or lifetime. But in rare cases like in Kerala, there were couples and they used to love each other. But her family didn't agree for that marriage, okay? And eventually, she killed her lover by just poisoning that person in a juice. Recently, the judgment have been given for her. The death sentence was being given for her. In the rare cases, it will happen. Why? Because that person came to the home and she has served the juice for her. In that, there was a poison for that. Immediately after 1 hour, he has just admitted to the hospital. That poison was not much concentric in nature. It didn't make him to kill at that spot. It was destroying the internal organs day to day, okay, day by day. And then he got to know that I have just drank that juice which was given by her lover, okay. And then her family was also included in that, killing that person. Okay, then the judgment was being given, the sentence was being given for her, even though she is a woman. Understood? ಈ ತರ ಮೋಸ ನಂಬಿಸಿ ಮೋಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ತರ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ದೇನೆ, ಓಕೆ, ಈ ತರ ರೇರ್ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ judgment will be given, a death sentence. But the death sentence was not given in this hospital. Which hospital? This is in West Bengal ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಇತ್ತು ನೋಡಿ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ನ ರೇಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಾಯಿಸಿದ್ರು. What is that hospital name? Lot of issue was been happened. Doctor residency, okay, R ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ. In that, the death sentence was not been given. Okay, still it was in trial. But in this case, the judgment was being given. Yes, RG Medical College. Okay, see, yeah, in only rares of the rare cases, death sentence will be given, especially for the terrorist and those who involved in gang rape, heinous gang rape, acid attack. Okay. ತುಂಬಾ ಕ್ರೂರವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಡೆತ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಪನಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. Have you understood this one? Okay. Parliament is having limited power in this. Next, lastly, very important, that is Vam and Raw case, the fifth case. Fifth case, Vam and Raw case. Vam and Raw case, 1980. 1980. Just concentrate here. In this Vam and Raw case, the Supreme Court said that whatever the Constitutional Amendment Act have been took before this date, whatever the constitutional amendments have been took before this date, no basic structure can be given for that. No basic structure can be applied for that. But after this date, for every case, for every Constitutional Amendment Act, whatever the Parliament does, the basic structure should be applied. Basic structure ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಯಾವ ದಿನ? April 24, 1973. On this date, we got the basic structure word. Okay, and after this date, whatever the cases are there, whatever the amendments this Parliament does, for that basic structure will be applied. Before this, whatever the constitutional amendment have been took place, for that basic structure is not needed. Understood? Okay. Just write down. Let me dictate. The Supreme Court given a judgment. The Supreme Court given a judgment that the basic structure will be applied to the constitutional amendments enacted after April 24, 1973. April 24, 1973. Full stop. Before this date, whatever the constitutional amendment has happened, for that basic structure is not applicable. Understood? Now let us see the importance of the basic structure. Okay, these are the key elements of the basic structure. Let me explain. Firstly, concentrate here. The key elements of the basic structure is that first is supremacy of constitution. As I told in the morning, which is supreme in India? Constitution. Constitution is supreme in India. Not even the president, not even the prime minister, not even the Supreme Court. Everybody are bounded by the constitution. The constitution is the supreme law of land and all the laws must be conformed to it. Ellaru tale baagbeku constitution. Everybody should protect that. The next one is what? Sovereign democratic republic form. As we have discussed in the preamble. What is meant by sovereign? Independent nation. Our India is an independent nation. Democratic. People's rule. The people will vote for the representatives and these representatives will create the laws in a parliament. Next, republican. What is republic? Two types of ruling. One is monarch, another one is elections. In UK, The king and queen will rule. Okay? There is a monarchy system, but in India, it's not like that. Okay, the president will be the head of the state, but in UK, the head of the state will be either queen or king. Understood? So, in India, the republic means the indirect democracy. That is, president will get elected. President will not rule the entire India till his lifetime. It's not like a dictatorship in India. President will rule for 5 years. Again, he can be reappointed in the next elections. That's what the republic means. Next one, secularism. Secularism means all the religions are equal in India. That is also a basic structure. All these wordings you have already studied in the preamble chapter. Okay. Next comes the separation of powers. As I told you, there are 3 pillars of the democracy. One is legislative, executive, judiciary. What is the role of legislature? Creating the laws. That is parliament or the state legislature. Central level alli yaru? Parliament, the central government. State level means state government. Those people are called as legislature. PM, MPs of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, CM, MLAs, MLCs. Those are called as legislatures. They can create the laws. Executives, implementing the laws. The bureaucrats, the civil servants. Okay, they will implement the laws. Judiciary, it will give the judiciary review, judicial review. Next comes the independence of judiciary. In India, judiciary is having the independency to take its decision. Nobody can pressurize, even the legislatures can't pressurize the judiciary. Okay. Freedom of dignity of individuals. Each and every individuals in our country is having its own dignity. This also the concept you have studied in the preamble. Okay. Unity and integrity of the nation, ಮತ್ತೆ dignity ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತದೆ ನೋಡಿ word. Okay. Dignity of the individuals ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ you will also study in that preamble. Next comes the rule of law. Nobody is above the law. The law is applicable for all the citizens of India. Whether you are rich or poor, it doesn't matter. Law is applicable for everyone. And next one, judicial review. Judicial review is also one of the basic structure of constitution. Okay. Next comes the parliamentary form of government. What is parliamentary form of government? Parliamentary form of government. What is that? What is presidential form of government? Parliamentary form of government. USA is having presidential form of government. There, the laws will be created by whom? The power is more in the hands of president there. But in India, parliament is having the power to create the laws. Howda? There will be council of ministers, MPs will be there. They will create the laws. They are responsible for the government. But even in USA, it is the presidential form of government. Okay. Next one, free and fair elections. What is meant by free and fair election? What is the meaning of that?
Election should be not any of the
Money. Election should be conducted freely. It should not be. Okay. See, the meaning of free and fair is different in terms of elections. Okay. Here, the free means, the meaning of free in terms of election is that every citizen of India who are above the age of 18, they are free to vote for any of their choice of their candidates. I can't pressurize you for voting this person. Understood? ನೀನು ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ vote ಹಾಕು, ನೀನು ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ vote ಹಾಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ I can't pressurize you. That is free of thought. You can vote for any candidates that you like. Fair means any citizen of India can contest the elections. Okay, that is the fair. Okay, they can't restrict. It should not be only meant for rich people to contest the elections. Every citizen of India, based on their qualification, that is, what are the qualifications for contesting the elections? Firstly, he should be an Indian citizen. First qualification is Indian citizen. Second qualification is minimum age for contesting the election. For contesting the election, ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತ? ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಕರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರಾ? Okay, 5 minutes. For contesting the elections, for MLA, the minimum age should be 25. For contesting the elections of MP of Lok Sabha, 25. Okay. Lower house there, whichever the lower house is there. The lower house is Lok Sabha at the central level, state legislative assembly, that is MLA. Both are, the minimum age is 25. For upper house, that is Rajya Sabha and also state legislative council at the state level, it is 30 years. For contesting the elections of the governor, it is 35. Okay. President is also 35. For municipal elections, it is 21. Okay. The minimum age is there. Based on that, these are the qualifications. Okay. No educational qualification is required in India to contest the elections. Okay. In first standard ಕಲ್ತಿರೋ ಸಾಕು ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ನೀನೇನೋ ಕಲ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. The representatives of India are not elected based on the educational qualification, because during British era, the literacy rate was just 17% in India. Now it is 75%. During that time, it was just 17%. During that time, there were no much literate peoples in India. That's why they didn't add up this educational qualification for contesting the election. If you want educational qualification, amend the constitution. Then you can do that. But in order to do that, again it will violate the basic structure. Okay. Nowhere it is written that only the educated representatives will develop the country. Even the uneducated, even the illiterate representatives can also develop the country. For developing the country, only the education qualification is not required. Okay. The support of the people is required from his constituency. Jananayaka agake, every kind of support he needs. Not only based on education, or development in agodilla. Okay. The support of the people agirbodu, majority, the support of the MLAs, the support of the MP should be there. Okay. In yeste kaltiro, but you yaru irlilla nin hinde andre, you can't create the laws. In order to become PM, he needs a majority. He needs a MP of Lok Sabha majority there, the support there. He don't need a educational qualification to do that. Understood? Have you got these points? Okay. These are the pillars of the basic structure. Okay. There are 20 basic structures in that. Okay. Judicial review already you have completed. Independence of judiciary, limited powers of parliament to amend the constitution, as it has given the judgment in the Minerva Mills case. Limited powers of the parliament to amend the constitution. That one, and also Article 32, Article 26, that all have been added in the judicial review. I will just send you the notes of that as well. Okay, by this we have completed the basic structure of the constitution chapter. Okay. Tomorrow we'll study regarding the important, that is president, central level, central government. We study regarding central government. Who is president? What are their qualifications? What is the removal process? What is the appointment process? Who will administer the oath for the president? What are their powers? What are their voting rights? All will discuss that. President, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, Supreme Court, at all the central level, we'll be studying tomorrow. Okay, we'll wind up the class. Okay. Is there any doubt in this basic structure? How many cases we have studied in basic structure? 3, 5. One is Shankari Prasad, Golaknath, Keshwananda Bharti, Minerva Mills case, Bam and Draw case. Can you just tell me the judgments of each case? In Shankari Prasad case in 1951, it said that Parliament can amend the Constitution. Okay. In next Golaknath case, it overruled. Parliament cannot amend the Constitution. It cannot amend the fundamental rights. In next, again in the Keshwananda Bharati case, the same judgment like a Shankari Prasad case. Yenadu. Parliament can amend the Constitution. Parliament even can amend the fundamental rights, but it cannot violate the basic structure. And these are the basic structures. Understood? Okay. What it has violated in 9th schedule. 39 Constitutional Amendment Act, it said that none of the courts can interfere in the 9th schedule, whatever the laws I have added. But it has violated the judicial review. Sorry, it has violated the basic structure. That's why that amendment was being declared null and void. Okay, ಈ ತರ basic structures ನ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ violate ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ there are 20 basic structures. If they violate any of the basic structure, that law will be declared as null or void. ರದ್ದು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದು. It will not come into an act. Understood? Okay. In Vamen's Raw case, Parliament is having limited powers. In Vamen Raw case, sorry, in Minerva Mills case, Parliament is having limited power. In Vamen Raw case, specific date, April 24, 1973. After that, what constitutional amendment takes place? For that, basic structure is applicable. All these 20 will be applicable. Before that date, it will not be applicable. All these 20 words of basic structure will not be applicable before that date, April 24, 1973. Understood? Okay. Okay, let's wind up the class then.